Once upon a time, and indeed it was a long time ago, an old servant who had worked many long years for his master was at last paid off with just 3 pennies and sent on his way. Being a simple soul, he did not realize his master had underpaid him and thought that with such a large sum of money he was free to see the world. It was a dwarf. "Why are you so happy?" The servant said he'd been given 3 whole pennies and so was rich in purse, healthy in body, and had a whole lot to be thankful for. The dwarf was pleased for him, but said he had no money at all and hadn't eaten for many days. The servant pitied him and gave away his 3 pennies. The dwarf was overjoyed, for the servant had such a kind heart. He had to repay him, but what with? All he could offer him was his battered old fiddle. "Go on, take it. It's yours." The servant, not wanting to seem rude, accepted the gift and bade the dwarf farewell. "Oh, he's gone," thought the servant. After walking for a while, the servant decided it was time to have his lunch. A robber. "I wonder if this old fiddle will still play," thought the servant. What was happening? The robber could not keep his feet still. "Bless my soul," thought the servant, "someone likes my music." The robber was not enjoying himself at all. He did not like dancing, but here he was compelled to make a fool of himself. What magic was this? The robber begged the servant to stop his playing. He could not bear to dance any longer, and offered all his money if only the servant would stop. Puzzled, the servant stopped. The robber grovelled with thanks, and fearing the music might start again, he scurried away as fast as his legs would carry him. "What an extraordinary fellow," thought the servant. "He danced to my tune, but begged me to stop at the same time." He didn't like to take the money, and perhaps it was bewitched. A little later, the devious robber arrived at the next village. He ran onto the green, shouting to all the villagers that he had been robbed, although it was he who had really attempted the robbery. Soon a small crowd gathered round. The robber insisted that he had been robbed and explained how a nasty fellow had stolen his money and taken all his clothes, leaving him dressed in rags. The crowd believed his every word. Suddenly the robber turned. There was the servant. He was happily whistling along the road, unaware of what was going on. The robber called to the villagers to grab the servant. He should be put in the stocks for stealing. The servant pleaded with the villagers to allow him to play his fiddle first. One of the crowd called out to let him have this last request. Desperately, the robber tried to stop him playing, for he knew what would happen. Feet began to tap, and soon the whole village was dancing and jigging to the music. On and on they danced. The robber begged the servant to stop his playing, but the servant played on. At first the villagers thoroughly enjoyed themselves as they danced around the village green, but the music continued relentlessly, and soon their feet began to ache and their heads began to spin. The robber pleaded for the music to end. The servant said he would stop only if the robber told the truth. Reluctantly, the robber admitted his lies, but the crowd didn't hear. Louder insisted the servant. "I admit it, I admit it." And the servant stopped playing. Everyone fell exhausted to the ground, except for a few villagers who saw to it that the real robber got his just deserts. The servant continued on his way, and who knows what more adventures he had with his magic fiddle. I wish him luck, don't you? I know one who doesn't.